Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Planet Chaos. There's going to be a tent here before too long. You guys ready for the transformation? I think you're ready for the transformation. Let the transformation begin. Oh yeah. Should be interesting to see how this one's going to turn out. This build took a strange turn. So it was going to be a trading hall. Now it's going to be a trading tent. Got a big hole, gonna go deeper. Got a big hole, gonna go very deeper. Got a big hole, gotta go very deeper. Where do we go? Gonna go very deeper. Okay, so I think I got the hard part done. I dug the hole. Didn't take too long. Only about, maybe about 6 hours worth of digging. 4 to 6 hours, something like that. So, like I said, I dug all the way down to Y level 0. So we got 4 layers for the trading tent. Bottom layer down there, second layer, third layer, layer, and then the fourth layer. And I started trying to kind of lay out a pattern of where everything is going to go so that I have a proper idea of how I'm going to build everything, how I'm going to move the villagers around, where the tracks are going to go, how I'm going to get them from one layer to the other, how the zombie converter process is going to go for each layer, and all that goodness. So I was going to try to put the zombie converter over here where the villager breeder is behind me. But I think in order to keep things more interesting over here in the trading tent, we're going to have a zombie converter for each layer. So that way the villager doesn't have to go very far in order to get converted. We can send him off to get converted for that layer. He can hop back on the tracks afterwards and jump back into his pod. Easy peasy. So I just got to lay out where everything is going to take place. This is where the villagers are going to come in. So here the The deep slate is where the ground layer is going to be, or where the floor is going to be. We're going to have stairs that go up to each of the villager pods here on these blocks. But I made this open right here. That way, when villagers come in, we can actually see them. I'm going to put up a glass window. That way we can see them roll by and then off into the villager trading center. And I'm going to do this for each layer on both sides. But we should have enough space down here below because there's 7 blocks there. And I know the tracks only require like 4 or 5, so we should have a lot of extra space down below in order to build the floor for above and also a villager zombie converter for each floor. So I still have to do some experimenting and creative to figure out how I want to do that exactly. But I figure a good first step is at least getting all the hardware in, getting the floors and the ceilings and the tracks and the pods and all that stuff first, because we definitely got a lot of work to do before we even think about sending any villagers over this way. You ever have one of those projects where you get partway through and it feels like you've been doing nothing but putting up roadblocks and barriers and speed bumps in front of yourself the whole way? That's what this one has turned into. The first problem that I came across after digging the hole, I went to the bottom and I started trying to put in the floor. The floor that I put in looked like this. I didn't like it. The second I actually built it down at the bottom of the hole, I knew right away that I was going to have to replace it. So I came back in here and I came up with 3 choices. I came up with this, what I'm calling mud mosaic pattern, which is a pattern I seem to like the most. And I also put a poll up on YouTube in my community section, and the community also seems to like this. So this is actually going to be the winner, our mud mosaic. It's nice. And I actually have all the blocks already, so that one should be easy to get ready. The other 2 patterns that I was looking at was this mud cornstalk pattern. And then also what I was calling a mud Mandelbrot. So I like them both, but definitely this mud mosaic has a little bit more going on, a little bit more texture and a little bit more detail. So this is the one we're going to go with ultimately for the floor. It's definitely an upgrade for what I had down before. So yeah, the floor seems easy enough, but it definitely took me a while, some trial and error to figure out some good patterns that I felt comfortable with or ones that I liked. The materials that I was using before was definitely quite different from the mud patterns that you see here behind me. But I think I'm going to be really pleased with changing it up to this mud pattern, this mud mosaic, instead of using some of these other materials that I was using for the ceiling, which we'll get to in a minute. That's another huge blunder that I made for myself. First, though, I want to talk about each of the pods. When I started designing the pods themselves, I was using the terracotta blocks, which are non-movable blocks. So I had no worry about these pistons or the slime blocks trying to move any of the other blocks around and being all annoying and that kind of thing. So, but that's good. The bad part is that I totally forgot about that whenever I started collecting material. And then I got the hole dug. Once I got the hole dug, I realized my mistake. I hadn't collected any obsidian. So now I was going to have to go back through and get obsidian for every pod, which was, 10 stacks of obsidian, and I didn't have any in my reserves. So that was just extra time and having to go get obsidian. That's totally my blunder there. And then on top of that, I didn't know what materials I was going to use for each of the facades. And this is where everything connects to the ceiling design. I could just go with a generic skulk under glass design like this, and I think it would be nice. I mean, I don't think it would throw the room off too terribly much. Most of the design and most of the detail is all down here at floor level. So, and I think that's where it counts for the most part. But originally, I'd come up with this design with the terracotta down the center of the room, and each level was going to have a different color of terracotta combination. So one level would be this cyan, nope, gray. This gray glazed terracotta with some cyan glass. The next level was going to be purple terracotta, brown terracotta, and then white terracotta. So each level in the trading tent was going to be a different color combination. But if you can't tell, there's something wrong. This is a even number design. So the middle of this design is actually between two blocks. Unfortunately, over here, we actually are centered around a 1 block center right there. That's the actual center of the entire farm. So my 2 block design over here wasn't going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. And I didn't realize that until I was back in here testing or putting together these walls for each of the layers. And then I realized 1 block in the center, and it started to drive me crazy. And then it drove me crazy. And now, well, I think I've got everything figured out now. So, but man, I have wasted so much time sitting here because I did not double check the numbers. I didn't double check them. I knew stuff, but I didn't know enough of the stuff. And so then I failed on getting the stuff ready. So, in order to save my little blunder here and still be able to use the same terracotta patterns, I decided to do it this way. And I know everything's upside down, like this is going to be the ceiling, but I think this will work. I think this will work out nice. And I'll still be able to use my terracotta plan that I want, and it'll still add a lot more details to the ceiling. I'm using each of these redstone lamps as if they were... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, why don't I do it like this? Ooh, brainstorm here on the video. Watch this. Let's just go like that and like that. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is a genius. Whose ever idea that was genius. Thank you so much. You know who you are. That was an excellent idea you had there. Thank you very much. I appreciate it greatly. Yay, so here we are at the bottom of the hole. It's a pretty deep. I mean, it hasn't gotten any deeper. We only dug down to Y level 0, so it's not like crazy deep, but you know, it's a deep hole, pretty deep. You can fall in it and die. It's deep enough. If it's deep enough to kill you, it's a deep hole. I'm pretty sure that's a good way to describe a deep hole. One that can kill you if you fall in. So I went through and I tore out the floor that I had in here that I was absolutely disgusted with. So now we're making way for the next floor. I think this will be a much better design. We'll get the mud mosaic floor in here. It'll be great. And we'll get up our first facades. We'll get that going and get a roof or a ceiling on this bad boy. And then I think that's where we'll probably cut off the episode after we get that stuff built, just to make sure that it's exactly what we're going to want, and see what everybody else thinks too. I think it's going to be fun. I've already had to build one other farm off camera. That way I can get a bunch of basalt. But I did get some basalt, so I've got that to work with. Because, yeah, I had no basalt, and then I started building with basalt in creative. Big smart move. Wowee. Okay. Well, that didn't take too long. So we got the floor and the ceiling and the walls in for this very bottom layer. So I think it's looking pretty good. I don't have it totally completed. I need to go through and put in some water in the stairs and the ceiling so that we can have a little bit more blue up there. But it's mostly in place. What do you think? Let's turn around here. Like I said, we went with the mud mosaic floor. I think it looks really good, especially next to the walls and everything. And then we've got the white terracotta in the ceiling there with some skulk. So it's definitely looking really good. We got some hanging lamps there with some kind of industrial shading so the room doesn't get too bright. I like how the birch kind of almost disappears from certain angles. Like over here you can see the birch, but you can't see it back there. Very nice. Cool. Well, we're going to go through and we're going to finish building out the other 3 layers before we finish this episode. And then the next episode, we're going to go through and do the tracks and the redstone for the rest of the trading tent. Should be a lot of fun. So let's do another time lapse. Ready, go. I was hoping to end this episode with a little more completed, but I think we've actually made a lot of good progress. So I'm going to go through and show you here in a minute. But for now, I think we've got all the hardware in, I guess you could say. So we've got the floors and ceiling, the walls, we've got everything to work with. We've got a nice look for each level. There's going to be 4 levels total. Each level will have 24 pods with a total pod count of 90. I don't know if I'll ever need that many, but I have them. I have them. Let's go do a little tour. We'll end the episode, and I will bid you adieu. So we are eventually going to cover the tent. I do have idea for colors and everything and stuff, so it'll turn out really nice. But for now, this will be the main walkway. I like the pools here in the corners. I don't like these things. I don't know what to do with them, though. So we'll just have to see. But I like the pools. And I've got little walkways that'll go down to each layer. Eventually I'm going to have bubble elevators so that I can go up and down between each layer. And I'm going to try to work with just one bubble elevator that goes up and down, or one that goes up and one that goes down, but I'll have multiple exits on each one. And I'll try to do it that way to minimize how many bubble elevators I need. So we got the gray terracotta up there, glazed terracotta. Bunch of water. I think the drips kind of bring a little nice aesthetic. I think it looks nice. Said we still got a lot of addition to do. We need to get all the pistons and all the redstone and everything. But everything's in place. So now it should be really easy getting the rest of it in. Down below here is where we'll have the zombie converters. Say they'll come down in carts and go into this little room to get converted. Here's our purple level. We got the purple glazed terracotta in the ceiling with some crimson stem. Wow. I don't know if I knew that they were animated like that. That's really nice. With some blue terracotta, even though it looks purple. Very cool. Then we got our brown glazed terracotta with some stripped jungle wood and stripped acacia. I think they all came together really, really well. I think it looks really great in here. Next episode, we'll figure out how to cap off these ends and make them look good while we're doing the tracks too. And then down here is the white glazed terracotta with the warped planks and the birch planks. Jungle wood at the top. I think they all look really good. I think the color choices came together really well. I think they all kind of complement each other. So I think it works nice. And the light levels with those up there are perfect. Like, it's nice and dim in here, but there's no total dark spots either. Like, nothing's been able to spawn in here except for slimes. Slimes have spawned in here, usually down there in the conversion areas, the zombie conversion areas. Well, that's it. So what do you think about the 4 different levels? I think it came together really well, especially for as chaotic as this build has felt. This is one of those projects where I'll get an idea and I'll go for the materials and realize I have next to none of the materials, and I'm going to have to go farm some before I can do what I want to do. And I wasn't compromising, so I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But I love it. So far, I think it's turned out really well. I was gonna go, no, actually I won't tell you this time. I'm gonna keep it a secret. You'll see what I'm gonna use for the outside of this tent in due time. In due time, you will see. It'll be great. So that's it. We are excited to see this project to come to a completion. We're not far away. We definitely got a lot of hours left to put into this thing, but once we get it completed, it's going to be awesome, and then we can kind of help organize the rest of the village once we have that one in. So once we have that one in, we're able to move the villagers around. We can go over there and clean up our villager breeder, make sure it's updated for 1.19, 1.20 and beyond. Maybe even go over there and get rid of the old school iron pod. Yep, right there, right above my head there. Or maybe we can repurpose it. Maybe we should repurpose it. There are some farms that I need. Like I need a flower farm here nearby so that I can get some dyes. I'm in desperate need of blue flowers. And I know I can get them through a flower farm, but I don't think I've got one. I know I've got one over in the witch hut area, but that one is set up for the cornflowers, so it's set up for the cyan. I don't know. Anyway, we got some planning to do. We got some things to take care of. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you like the episode or if you like the project, hit a like on the video. Give me a thumbs up. And if you're feeling really good, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Always glad to have a new viewer. And I look forward to making some more cool builds like this for you guys. So, I guess that'll do it. Until next time. See ya.